Alright, good morning everybody. It is Monday, barely morning because it's about 5 to 12, so we're getting rolling just slightly late today, by about 10 minutes, but we're going to get rolling. We only have 3 loads today, boring day, just down to Fogelsville, 1 out of Red Barn, 2 out of Tamaqua. Of interest might be a construction zone that popped up. I don't know how long a duration it is, but they're going to be working on a bridge there in New Tripoli near the high school. I don't know if it's going to be a single lane flagman type deal or if they just tightened up lanes, try and keep 2 lanes moving in there, but we'll see when we get down there. And then I know I mentioned about trying not to make these about the weather, but there's a good chance for some flooding rains today. No severe thunderstorms, but wherever rain develops, there's no steering aloft, so wherever they develop, they just kind of hang out. So whoever gets under any of the heavy rain cells could see 2, 3, 4 inches of rain in a short period of time, like what happened overnight up in the Scranton area, where some places got 5 to 6 inches of rain in a couple hours. So see how the day plays out. But like I said, we got 3 loads, 1 from the Red Barn to start us off, and then Tamaqua to finish us off. So we'll talk to you out there on the road and let you know what we see along the way, if anything interesting pops up, so forth, so on. You know the routine. So all right, we'll talk to you later. Alright, so we're rolling, and already the sky doesn't look the greatest out there to the west. Now, like I said, there's no real steering currents in the upper atmosphere, so wherever these rainstorms pop up, they pretty much stay stationary, and maybe if they move anyway, they move southwest to northeast and kind of train over the same areas over and over again. So I don't know if all that darkness to the west is going to push east or if it's going to stay out to the west, but looks like somebody's already starting to get some rain, or will be very shortly. So it could be an interesting weather day. However, every time I bring up possible weather events, I end up eating crow. So let's see how today plays out. But the potential is there because the whole area is under a flood watch. So the potential is there for somebody to get some real heavy rain and some flooding. And they're actually mentioning creek flooding, not just urban and street and small stream flooding. They're actually mentioning some of the bigger creeks could go out of their banks, considering how much rain. It's just soup right now. It is just unbelievably humid, and it has been for a couple weeks now. And you know, wherever it lets loose quite well. So as you can see, it is dark out there to the west. It actually kind of looks like it's raining. Probably over there by New Ringgold, it might even be raining. Once we get in the opening here, now I can still see the Blue Mountain, so it's not raining too close by yet, but somebody's seeing some rain out of that. I can just see it in the clouds. But check radar when I get up there to the Red Barn and see what is cooking out there. But coming out here to 309, got to make our left. See if this is going to be easy or difficult. Sometimes I catch a good break here and can almost get right out after a brief stop, and sometimes I gotta sit and wait for traffic. Now, nothing is coming down from Tamaqua, so I'm good. And I've got a gap good enough to get out of here. Not a lot, but enough, because there's a parade coming behind that garbage hauler. So we got it. You can see the clouds billowing up there to the south over the mountain towards Allentown. So I don't know that we stay dry today. I think today might be a day where we see our fair share of rain, but that remains to be seen. Nobody can predict the future with 100% accuracy. So anyway, we'll talk to you when we get to the well and later on in the day. All right, so as you can see, we're stuck waiting here to get somebody ahead of us. I don't know how far along he is in the loading process. I didn't get out and go inside to see what the meter is reading, but we got to wait for this guy to finish loading, and then we'll be able to load. Storms look to be fairly far away at the moment, so we probably got at least an hour, maybe 2 hours before we start getting wet, unless something new develops closer in. But anyway, we're here, and we got to wait a little bit before we can load. All right, so down here is the construction zone in question. They're working on a bridge across a little stream down here, and I don't know if they're going to rebuild the bridge or if they're just going to reinforce the concrete guardrails that are on the sides of the bridge. But I see what they did so far is they just shifted this right lane onto the shoulder and shifted the left lane, or the northbound side, over the yellow line. But either way, you got to kind of take her nice and easy through here. Not real wide. They bring an oversight through here. They're going to have to shut one side or the other down so that they can fit through here. But not exactly sure what they are actually going to be doing here. But yeah, it's a nice tight little stretch right in there between the cones and the guardrail. And now we got PennDOT mowing grass too. All kinds of stuff going on. So, but that's it is, just a small little construction zone, but we don't know exactly how bad it's going to slow down the run, if at all. They said, you know, definitely have to slow down to go through that tight spot, but I don't know if there's going to be days where it's single lane with flagmen, or if it's going to always be 2 lanes just tightened up, but we will see. But we're making our way down the first one. It's no rain yet. In fact, the sun's kind of partially out, but the sky's a-boiling. Rain can... it's not a cold front or anything like that, so rain can just pop up out of nowhere, and wherever it does, it could stay in the same place and rain itself out to the tune of 2 or 3 or 4 inches at a clip. So it's going to be an interesting day, and going to be a day of the haves and the have-nots. Going to be places that are going to get a flooding rain and places that won't see a drop. Don't know where we're going to end up on that spectrum, but I did bring the cameras out, so we'll see how the day plays out. But anyway, you know, off of 309 on the 100 South, heading down there to Fogelsville. Alright, so we're down here, we're unloading. There were 2 others here, but they both left, so we're down here by ourselves, so we can talk to you for a little bit. The sun went in behind a cloud, so it's a little more tolerable. It is so incredibly humid out, it is not funny. It's not that it's that hot, it's only about 87, 88 degrees out, which is nothing anybody can't handle, but the humidity is off the charts, and the dew point's probably about 75, 76, 77, so it's about as tropical and steamy as it can get, and that's why the threat for the heavy rain. So, but we're down here unloading. Got 2 more to do yet. Those 2 come out of the Tamaqua location, and it's partly, oh, nice breeze just kicked up here, that feels good. And when the other guy unhooked his hose, I stood there, let the water hit my legs, so I got a nice little air conditioning effect on my legs, so it doesn't feel all that bad. But it is, like I said, it is just terribly oppressive right now. Thank God the sun went behind a cloud for a little bit, but as soon as I'm done talking to you, I'm going to go sit in the truck until we're just about empty, and then come out and unhook and onward and upward to get the next one. All right, so we got that one delivered, and we're heading up for load number 2 up here in Tamaqua. So, curious to see. I don't show this turn too often, but about half the time we try to make this turn, somebody's sitting waiting at the stop line for the light. And the light's green for 309 and red for the side street. And sometimes people are sitting there because they didn't paint the stop line back far enough to allow us room to make the turn. And so they're not crowding the intersection deliberately, they're just going up to where the stop line tells them to stop, but it makes it hard for us to make the turn. But as of right now, it doesn't look like anybody's here, so we're gonna have a nice clean turn up. Now somebody's coming. Now let's see, here we go. I'm gonna make her back up because I couldn't get in the left lane. See, I'm about a foot away from the curb with my trailer, so I've got to make her back up, which she did. And she's smiling. She understood it. That's cool. Some people get kind of torqued up when you make them back up to make the turn, but she was smiling, so that was cool. She kind of understood what was going on. But there was case in point, what I'm telling you about. They come up to the white stop line, which is where they're supposed to stop, but it doesn't give us enough room to make the turn. So, but we're going back here to load up. This one we shouldn't have to wait on anybody, as you know. Less trucks come back here, so about 95% of the time we have this place all to ourselves. So, you see the sun's still out, no rain yet. I don't know where it's popping. Actually, according to radar, it showed that there was a lot of popcorn type storms popping up out there in true central Pennsylvania along the Susquehanna and west of the Susquehanna. Now, whether they start popping over on this side or whether they start moving this way, I don't know. But right now, the heaviest of the rain and most of the rain is west of our location. So, and we've been dodging a bullet. So, like I said, the Scranton area got some places almost a half a foot of rain last night, and some slow-moving stationary type storms. And southeastern Pennsylvania's been getting it, and out there towards Knoble's amusement park had gotten it yesterday morning, and down by Harrisburg, but we pretty much stayed high and dry here. Somehow the storms are still being repelled from the area, so we haven't had any kind of flooding issues yet. We will see if today proves to be the same or different. Now we got some stuff billowing up to our southeast here too. A pretty dark cloud there off to the left of the 12 o'clock position, and some white puffies really getting going there to our 11 o'clock position, soon to be 12 o'clock straight ahead position. So I don't know, we may end up getting some rain here shortly, because maybe not shortly, but maybe before the end of our shift, because it looks like stuff is starting to pop up here in the eastern side of the state now too. That's pretty rough looking off to our east. I got a camera in my side window. When I get up here in the little clearing, I'll show you. But again, it could miss us. We could be a dry sandwich between two storm complexes. Weather works in weird ways sometimes. So who knows? Now once we get a little bit of the way up the mountain here, we come to a clearing off to our left. You can look down into the valley that heads over toward Lehighton, and get a look at what it looks like over there. Just starting to slow down for our pull here. Up the blue we go, but yeah, there's a bit of a vantage point here once we get up a little further, where you can see off to the left there's an open clearing. Right now, of course, we got trees and woods, but it's going to open up, and you'll see how dark it is out that way. So stuff's starting to pop in that direction too. So see if we can hold on to sunshine and dry but muggy weather, or if we start getting some rain here in a little while. But we've got our formidable mountain here to finish climbing, and then of course drop down off the other side and make our way down there. Our first load went off real good. No waits, no delays, so hopefully it stays the same way for this one and the next one. Alright, talk to you later. Well, things aren't looking so good the further south we go. I have a feeling it's going to be raining down there at the plant. I mean, I could be wrong, but this is looking like some stuff is popping down this way. The darkest is to the west and to the east of us, but straight ahead doesn't look all that great either. And I have a feeling by the time we get to Tillman Street, it might be raining. So we will see. We are still up here on 100 a little bit, so we'll see what we get when we get closer. All right, well, we didn't even make it to Tillman Street, and we found the rain. We're coming down here to the Applewood light that we got to slow down for in case it's red. And see, it's coming down pretty good. I wonder how heavy it's going to be down at the plant, because we're driving kind of into this. I said that it looked like we were going to get rain by Tillman Street. Well, it's actually north of Tillman Street. Looks like it's a little bit breezy, too. They aren't supposed to be severe storms, but looked like it got a little bit breezy when this one hit. But boy, it's coming down pretty good. All right, somebody pay attention. Woo. Burn. Now the trick is this gonna move out, or is it just gonna sit here and rain for the rest of the afternoon? If it does, then there's gonna be some flooding problems. But we'll try to talk to you down at the plant. Maybe we'll get out of this and it won't be raining quite so hard down there. We'll see. All right, well, I kind of think we're living on borrowed time here. We went through that little rain shower, and it stopped raining, so we stayed kind of dry down there unloading. Actually, we stayed completely dry other than sweating because it didn't rain anymore. And you can see the road's drying out here even already, but we're going to run back into it going northbound. As you can see, the dark clouds up there ahead of us, and it's getting dark behind us, and it's kind of funky to the west. And looking at the radar, it is just like all around us, and it's just a matter of time before it closes in, and we get our turn at getting wet. Oh, it's looking kind of interesting up there to the north. I have to see what it's like the closer we get to the well, but that's an awfully dark cloud on what's already an awfully dark day. Usually they don't look that dark unless the sun is hitting them. So somebody getting something good up that way. The question is it north of Tamaqua, or is it in Tamaqua, or is it just south of Tamaqua? Right now we just went from a wet road to a totally dry road, so interesting to see what we're going to run into up here just a little bit further. But that is a like I said, they're not going to be severe storms by any means. They're more rainers than they are thunderstorms. I'm sure there's lightning and thunder in there, but I don't think it's severe to where we're going to have high winds and hail and everything else. But that looks rather interesting. We'll talk to you when we get up to the well for sure. All right, it's not raining too terribly hard here, but I'm trying to keep my phone dry while I talk to you guys, so I got the umbrella out. Just had a couple of rumbles of thunder here, and there is quite a bit of rain coming. We dodged a bullet for a while, but now it's raining, and I think it's going to rain the rest of the night, which is just this last load that we got to do yet. So we're going to have a wet ride down, or at least partially down. It may not be raining down there, I don't know, but it's raining up here, and it's going to rain because the radar to the west looks awfully juicy, and it's slowly moving this way. So we're in it now, and I don't know how much we're going to totally end up with. My rain gauge shows 0.59 inches already, so better than a half an inch since it started up here. I don't know how much we're going to end with, but there's more coming, so we'll talk to you more a little bit later on as we roll on down there, and if we can at the plant, and then on the way back up as we always do. So stay tuned. Boy, that's an even nastier looking cloud down there to the south than what we had to the north almost. That's dark. Somebody south of the valley here is getting a decent amount of rain, I believe. Alright, we're down here unloading the third one. It is not raining yet, but that cloud over my shoulder that we were looking at coming down Route 100 is looking more and more menacing as we speak. I didn't look at radar yet to see what's coming out of that thing, but that is one black cloud, I'll tell you. So I'll have to see what's coming out of that, and if it really looks interesting, I'll screenshot it and show it to you guys. But actually, I'm feeling a few raindrops now, so it's kind of spitting at me a little bit here as I talk to you guys. But yeah, look at that cloud behind me. That is black as night. So just looked at radar, and that cloud is actually not going to come up this way. That cloud is actually moving kind of to the east-northeast, but since it's already south of our location, I looked at the forward motion of it, and it is not going to get here. We are in a hole. There's more rain out to our west, more rain to our north, but we are in a dry hole right here. But that big old cloud down there, that's got a bunch of severe storm warnings in them, but it's not coming here. It's going to stay south of us. So we dodged a bullet. We'll drive through some rain heading up, but we'll be all right down here. So we have been riding the wave of good fortune or bad fortune, depending on what the viewpoint would be. If you're a storm lover, you want to see the heaviest, most intense thunderstorm you could ever see. If you want to stay dry while you're loading and unloading the truck, then we've been riding the wave of good fortune. But I'm a storm lover, but I also want to stay dry, so it's kind of messed up. But at any rate, we've kind of sat in the middle of all this mess. Yes, it did rain up in Tamaqua where I needed the umbrella for a little bit, but it was nothing earth-shattering. There wasn't no out-and-out deluge or flooding runoff was going on or anything like that. And most of our travels have been dry. It rained a little bit, but didn't pour. And you can see here, it's north of Clausville here, north of Allentown. It's dry here on 100. Down to the south, you saw those storm clouds. There's a whole bunch of severe warnings in those storms. I don't know whether they're just severe thunderstorm warnings or if there's any tornado warnings in there, but that was a pretty nasty looking shelf cloud, and it was pretty dark. And that was south of us while we were unloading. We had the dark cloud that we drove up to as we were heading into Tamaqua. We've got dark clouds right now to our west, and we've got the first storm's dark clouds off to our east. But we are riding in this like donut hole where it has been mostly dry for us for our entire shift, which is kind of remarkable. Like I said, if you're a storm lover, then that's a bummer, but if you want to stay dry, then it's a good thing. And I'm kind of on the fence because you know, I didn't want to get soaking wet and miserable, but I also want to see a good storm because I'm a weather buff. So who knows? I don't know if there's more storms coming tonight or everything kind of conglomerated south of Allentown again like it seems to do. Storms kind of jump around a little bit. You get a good line of storms and they fall apart and reform in another location. And so it's kind of strange what all goes on when it comes to these thunderstorms, which even as a weather enthusiast, I don't understand the science part of it that much. I understand more than the average person who doesn't really care about the weather other than whether it's raining or sunny out. But I don't understand some of the dynamics that go into these things. I just know that it does what it does. And yeah, we are in a donut hole, and I think as we get closer to the Blue Mountain and up towards Tamaqua, it looked like there was some orange up there, so there might even be some clearing skies. So I don't know, man. It has been the strangest weather these past few months, from the cold synoptic type rains we had in May and June, and now we're in this stormy pattern where every single day is the threat of storms and flooding rains. I don't know when we're going to have a day where there isn't a threat of some kind of a storm. All this week and the next weekend, this coming weekend, is a threat of storms every single day. So just a wonky weather pattern we've had for a good chunk of the spring and now in the summer. So who knows, but just it is a strange day today for sure. All right, well, another day is in the books, and we can actually do this one with a little bit of peace and quiet other than the raindrops hitting the roof. I'm able to shut the truck off because I don't need any artificial light because it's still light out. It's overcast, and it's a little on the dark side, and it's raining, but we still have enough light to do a video under natural light and not with artificial light. But yeah, what a weird day. Started out like any other summer day, and this crazy pattern that we've been in now for weeks, where we get these thunderstorms every afternoon, and sunny and muggy and warm, and then the storms fired up, and then they were all around us, and we've been in and out of the rain, but never anything heavy or severe, even though there's been a lot of heavy storms and heavy rain around us. Like I said in that clip coming up Route 100, we've kind of been in a donut hole most of the day. It rained a little bit in Tamaqua, and it rained a little bit on the ride down, I think it was the second load, when it rained down there by Applewood while we were in the truck. But then by the time we got to the plant, it had stopped raining. And so we pretty much stayed mostly dry. The only time I would have gotten wet was loading up the third one, I believe, there with the umbrella, because I was trying to keep the phone dry. It wasn't that it was really downpouring and crazy, but I just wanted to keep the phone dry while I was recording. So that's why I had the umbrella out. But otherwise, we kind of dodged a bullet as far as the heavy rain goes. We didn't drive through much of it, and we certainly didn't work in any of it. But anyway, that's it for tonight. All our paperwork is done. All we got to do is our quick walk around post-trip and turn everything in and see what we're doing tomorrow. Now, depends on what we're doing tomorrow. Maybe I'll bring the cameras back out. If not, I'll bring them out later in the week. But we're fixing to get going and head on home and maybe try to have somewhat of a supper. Most nights I don't, because I get home too late and don't want to eat right before I go to bed. So, but anyway, we will catch you in the next one.